I invite everyone to the workshop on October 8th. This is our workshop. And I think today we have a couple things we wanted to discuss. First, we got the Historic Elk Planning Foundation. We're going to talk a little bit about the Singerly Fire Company. And I met with Stonewall Development this morning, and I invited, Ryan Humphreys here and Mike Brown. So there's a couple things I want to ask you guys too today. With that, Historic Elk Landing, where are we at?
I'm right here.
All right.
I'm logging in, so.
You are logging in. Very good. Are you gonna be a couple minutes?
It's
Are you good?
almost there.
All right.
Yeah, if you have something you wanna say in the next.
I do. I got a couple. Hey, Dave Pesty, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
We just recently, and I think Lewis has touched base with you, we had a house fire in Hollingsworth Manor. And that house fire, we went out and our guys did a great job of knocking the building down real quickly. We want to, do the lien on it and so forth on that lot. But I had a question even further in that, as I mentioned the other week, that Hollingsworth Manor, we spend a tremendous amount of police time over there, public works time. A lot of services of the town get spent into Hunt, which I think is, when I say 40%, I'm probably not exaggerating.
Disproportionate.
Proportionate amount, about the dollars of our budget gets spent into a neighborhood, and we're fighting crime, we're fighting issues, we're doing the best that we can do, but it's way too much that we're doing over there, right? No, that's the wrong way to put it. It's the wrong words. The dollar amount that we're committed to there is we got to figure out a way that we can make it better, let's say. And one of the things that was crossing my mind, is there because of the safety issues that we have in there and the amount of violence that we're having in that community, could we put a stoppage on any new construction in Hollingsworth Manor for those reasons? And where I'm getting at is, here we have a lot that we just cleaned up and we fixed up the person's lot. So now someone can buy it at tax sale, pay X amount of dollars with the hookups there, and build another house, right? And I think we're just, until we get all of our ducks in a row, I don't want that house to be put in there.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Do you follow where I'm going here, or it maybe?
Absolutely. I think the hurdle that I think the town faces in a situation like that is whoever purchases the property at tax sale, if they were to foreclose on the right of redemption or sell that tax sale certificate, the purchaser would understand and rightfully believe they have a buildable lot there, or at least there's a structure on the lot. Often, in fact, I was just speaking to Tyler about this, people purchase things at tax sale, and they don't even know what it's on. So for example, this recent property that was burned and demoed by the town, that tax sale purchaser may not even know what's going on with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my concern would be is that, any purchaser would assume, and rightfully so, that if they're purchasing a lot, they get all the rights and benefits of that lot.
Yeah.
So I have to put sort of a moratorium on construction. Note that any new building obviously would have to be built out with the current regs and ordinances. So
Yes.
it isn't necessarily they could just rebuild what was there. That's not the case anymore, and there would be more strenuous requirements asserted to that new structure. But it would be, my gut reaction is that it would be tough to put a moratorium solely on construction
Mm-hmm.
when, if it's a lot and it's conforming and they address all regulations and
Okay.
all ordinances, that could be I'll look into it further.
I would just like to know, I think whoever builds that lot, we know that they're going into an area where there's gonna be hiccups.
Sure.
And I think for the safety of our officers, for the safety of the residents that are down there, I think the less structures, the better, until we can get things cleaned up.
Understood,
And it could take another 10 years.
sure,
That's where I'm coming at.
I understand, I can look into it.
Okay, maybe there's something out there.
See if there's a way, some sort of, wouldn't be an injunction, but I understand, Mayor, what you're
Yeah,
trying to do, you just wanna be able to do something for the benefit of the residents.
absolutely.
Now, will we put a lien on that property for the demolition and cleanup?
Absolutely, in fact, I was just speaking with Tyler, that we wanna make sure that that lien, that figure travels with the water bill, because whenever the property is transferred, you know, they need to get a stamp from the town to ensure that water utilities, all liens are paid. And since it's
Gotcha,
purchased
okay.
at tax sale, I wanna make sure, I wanna call the county finance department, make sure, see if we can identify who the tax sale purchaser is. I know Kevin Dunn will let us know, contact them, say, hey, look, we wanna let you know, there's this lien out there, fair play, like this is,
Mhm.
the town expects to be paid on this, and it's secured against the property.
Absolutely.
And I think that we need to continue, I wanna make sure that we're mowing that lot to keep the debris down and so forth and cleaner.
Sure.
And, we probably should add, can we pre-add all the cuts for the next year on that lien?
I mean, yeah, well, what I would do is say that, and I assume with the demo, those cuts would be included in any lien amount. But just constantly have it updated,
Yeah.
so that when the person does call to get a final payoff amount, it's updated up to that date and has a good 4 date.
Perfect.
Why would we not just take the property?
I don't know if we can take the property.
Yeah.
We'd have to bid it at process.
It was bid on and purchased at tax sales, but right now that purchaser is an equitable owner of the real property.
Oh, it was already.
Right, so they still have to foreclose on the right of redemption. It may be a difficult process. My understanding is the owner of that lot is deceased.
You're right.
That's never.
I thought we could condemn it and clean it up.
Well, right now it's cleaned up, so I don't know that there's any
Nothing to do now.
threat to,
But if we can get our hands on it, I think we should figure out how we could acquire.
Either
So
or.
what is the composition out there of those homes, versus renters and homeowners?
that.
Do you know that, or is there a list that exists?
I don't know, and I know the landlord tenant rules have become more difficult. It's more difficult now to become to be a landlord than I think it's ever been, by far. But as far as, I think that's something we could determine. But right now I don't know.
Okay, that's fine, because the reason why I asked that question, if you're going to not necessarily attack, but to delve into what's out there, it would compensate you to know who owns and who doesn't.
Sure. And that's something that's been used in the past, that, and as a subdivision, you could say, look, unfortunately, this is after the fact, well after the fact, since it's been built out, but I know some subdivisions say this has to be owner occupied, for example, and you can't rent. Which would be a way of making sure that whoever owns the property takes pride in it and continues to maintain it. Not to say tenants don't, but again, proportionately, if it's owner occupied, it's got skin in the game.
Can we change that?
I don't know, that's why I'm saying it's well after the fact. My understanding is Hollingswood Manor was constructed shortly after World War II, right? So,
Well, the house that just burned down was constructed in 1943.
okay, so I don't know that that's something we can now, 80 years later,
Apply.
Any new construction in there?
well, that would be the question, is any new construction, can we saddle
Uh-huh.
burden the property with that? But that's
Okay.
sort of a slow burn, and that takes, as your honor.
Yeah.
Alright.
Could take a while.
It could take a while.
Or not. I don't know.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, you're on.
All right. You want me up here?
Yeah, where you gonna be at, Christine?
Okay. Hi, I'm Christine, Brim Hirschman. I'm the treasurer of the Historic Elk Landing, Foundation. I'm also on the, Historic District Commission Board, as well, so double duty. I wanted to give kind of an update about what's been going on at Elk Landing. We've been kind of a sleepy, been very sleepy since COVID. And this year we, since I came in April, we've been, doing a lot of work over there. And I also wanted to, let you know our financial status, as well, so.
First standing, I see you standing, there's chairs there.
As long as I can get it to move. So, as you know, Elk Landing is, 42 acres, which is owned by the town of Elkton. The Historic District Commission, or not, sorry, Elk Landing Foundation, if I play it straight. We are leasing the 2 buildings on the property for 99 years, in order to, help with educating the public, and in the historical significance, of the Elk Landing. All right, so we've been kind of closed since, 21, 22. We haven't done a lot of, any kind of like, tours or activities. COVID kind of hit us hard. We had a few, foundation members that passed away. And there wasn't anybody to give tours, of the house. But, this year, I have managed to, get enough interest and cultivate volunteers. So we did single day tours in June, July, and August. We've been giving some private, tours as well. I just have a interest of a school to come and do a school health trip, to the Elk Landing, which would be very exciting. So, been, cultivating folks to come and volunteer and help. I've been giving the tours, and, having volunteers come and help with the day to like, help direct people and, all that kind of stuff. And we've been also working on the kitchen garden, which the town of Elkton mows the property, but it doesn't touch the garden part. So, we have been, so you can kind of see, our progress, on the garden. The photograph all the way to the left is kind of what it looked like, over the summer, which was really overgrown. We've been having, volunteer folks come and do, help with weeding. And then currently the state of the garden, we have it kind of back to, what a colonial garden, might have looked like, we're planning on doing flowers around the outside edge. And then we have, like herb gardens in the middle. And that way when folks come to do the tours, we can also give them information on the colonial aspect, of the property. So why I'm here is that we need some help, because we are not bringing in as much money as the outlays for the property. That's why you can kind of hear it for that. So one of the things that we would like to have help with, is we had a couple break-ins in the spring, and an antique, historic key. We had the front door of the stone house, has a historic lock on it, and unfortunately, I guess, something happened, the police came and they walked out the front door and didn't lock it behind them, so folks got in, and the key got taken. We do have the doors secured, so it's, nobody can get in now, but we would like to replace that key. I think that's, it's an important aspect of talking about the building itself. The stone house is on the National Historic, Register, for important houses. And we had a structures report done last, in 24 on the Hollingsworth house. And their recommendation was to also list that house on the National Historic Places, registry as well. So.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but you said something about the key.
Yeah.
Was it a unique key?
Yeah, it's, like the lock itself is like a old, you know, 1800s or earlier type box lock with a skeleton key, that would go inside of it. So it was a very particular size key, that we would
We
have.
happen to have a man that could produce that key.
Could make a new key?
We had the specifications and the lock to use.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if do we have the specs on that?
I'm not sure.
Not
It
sure.
was apparently a large key.
Yeah, it was a
Josh
large.
said it's a large
Well, I'm
key.
talking about Ed.
Oh, yeah.
He could make it.
I mean,
Okay.
probably.
So that
You
would
wouldn't have to
be,
buy one.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
If I felt that way.
Great idea.
Yeah, so that would be great. So that's one of our items. The other thing is that we have, some cameras on the property that need some updating. Currently we have, ring cameras that face the Stern House, and there's one on the actual Hollingsworth building on the porch. There is an existing, electric for, like a floodlight, a sensor, you know, kind of on the outside of the house facing the garden and the sheds, because the other break-in was into the sheds. So we don't currently have any view on that angle. So I'd like to have a new camera, you know, like floodlight camera with the, you know, with the ring, so we can keep an eye on it. We also have another camera that's existing, on the property, kind of in the middle, of the property, that it doesn't function anymore. It goes to a DVR that doesn't work. So I would like to also, you know, it's existing electric, have a new camera for that area too, so that it faces out, you know, across both of the houses, in a different direction. You know, I don't know if it's good or bad, but the ring cameras that are there, you know, there's a couple of us that have access to it, and big things when there's activity on the property. And I've actually talked to people that walk up on the porch and let them know about the foundation, even though I'm not standing there. You know, I'm trying not to scare them to death, but, you know.
How many cameras do you need?
2,
That's all?
is what we would like, yeah.
Is that enough?
Well, we don't have anything that faces the gate on the back side of the house. And there is not current, electric on that, you know, on the outside of that part of the building. So that one would be a little bit more, more expensive, but, you know, at least getting the ones where we do have electric, get them changed out and upgraded would be.
Have you priced them out?
Yeah, they are right there on this slide. The ring cameras are about $179. And depending on the electrician, cause I talked to 2 different electricians, they're somewhere around $175 to $200 to install. And have an electrician, but I called the town works, and we don't have the town doesn't have a specific electrician, on the books. But I did call that gentleman, and he said 200 to install. So it's, you know.
Okay.
Would be in that range. And then the next item, as you can see in the picture, you can see the roadway. I'm, you know, standing at the house, looking at the Stone House, or the lack thereof of the roadway. It's crush and run, currently, and needs a refresh on it. So I don't know if the town has extra crush and run somewhere that, could be used to fill in, you know, make the road a little bit better, more welcoming to folks. You know, because we don't want it to necessarily look derelict. There's no paved parking. All the parking for that site is on, grass, either at the fence line where the gate is, or up near the house.
When you're talking about using CR6, which is special run, how big an area are you talking about?
That lane is.
The length of the driveway to, from the fence to the, around to
To the house, so it's maybe closest quarter mile. We have to measure it, but.
CR6 is considered impervious surface, once it's compacted, they have to be careful about the area that's involved and what, how you manage
So
it.
there's an existing crusher run driveway there, so this is just maintenance.
Okay.
on
Yeah.
that.
Okay, just take that.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, the crushing run is kind of sunk in and
grass is growing.
grass is growing.
Well, probably worse than if the pressure run.
Christine, is there any activities where you're raising any money? Has there not been any activities?
Yeah, I mean, for the 3 open houses, the average donation is between $200 and $500, which is good, kind of helps us a little bit. But it's not, we're not doing the open houses every month, and probably during the winter with the ground being soft, we probably wouldn't have people doing open houses during the winter.
Has there been any fundraising drives?
Well, we have a, sold out paranormal investigation, event that's coming up on November 1st.
Hmm.
So that did get us, pre-ticket, pre-purchase, I guess, for the event. That was about $780, I think, for that event. We are planning on having, the Sons of the American Revolution, come for a event dinner, in December, and they said they would, be making a donation to us. And we're also planning a calling day event, January 3rd. So that'll be a ticketed event, because basically, in Victorian times, between Christmas and Epiphany, you would go visit your friends. If they weren't there, you would leave your business card or your calling card, and then you would get snacks, kind of see the house, and then go on your merry way. So I have a local, Upper Chesapeake band is gonna come and play Christmas music, and we're gonna have, singers and snacks. So, that we'll get some money from that kind of ticket sales.
Can you get to the board like your annual budget? I don't think we've seen an annual budget, and
Yes. Yeah,
And,
I think one of the slides in here has kind of like what our expenses are looking at. The next thing for future repairs, just want to mention that, is that there are 6 air conditioner units on the Hollingsworth house, and it is more than 15 years old. We've already had, floods, some years ago, because I think it's, hot water to the heaters.
The water system, on the 3rd floor, the insulation in there for a hot water system froze. I think you
Yeah.
remember that, Mary, in
Yeah.
2014 or something. Pipes froze, broke, and we had that repaired.
Yeah.
But the system does need to be updated.
Yeah, we do need to update that, at some point, and I know, like, based on the, the current amount of funds, we would not be able to fix, those units. Right now, we had in June, when we did our open house, the heater and the air conditioners were both running at the same time. So it was, kind of a scramble to get the heat part shut off so that it wouldn't be running while the air conditioners were running. So we know that there's problems with it. We want to make sure that, like, during the winter time, we don't have pipes freezing, because we have to heat it, and we have objects in the house, historical value, that we want to make sure that nothing happens to them as well. So I've been, when I took over as treasurer in April, I'm like, okay, we gotta have some money coming in, because the last treasurer left in 24 and left everything on auto pay and drained the bank account, out, over the winter.
I think what we'll need to do is you may have never seen the lease agreement that we have between the town and Elkton. And, so we probably need to get that so everyone can
I'd be
see
happy
what
to send it to you. We have that, yeah.
yeah, what the responsibilities are of each party. And, it sounds like you're coming to us for a lot of help here. And,
Well,
and I
wanna let you-
recognize that.
Yeah, I wanna let you know what we're up against.
Yeah, I,
If I could, there's other activities going on, the Stone House. We had requested grant funding to, repair a small section of the wall in the Stone House and then to rebuild the fireplaces in the Stone House. If you recall, when we acquired the property, it was 4 walls, no roof, no nothing.
Hmm.
So now it's to the point where we can start restoring the inside of it for tours and that sort of thing. What had happened was the repairs on the outside wall are gonna probably will take up the 1 grant that I received. We had to have additional, structural engineering done to ensure that whatever repairs they do will not cause any further damage to the building. So I'm working on that. I've also applied for a second grant on that. So I've got 2 grants pending on that. I've also requested a grant to do a historic structures report on the Stone House. I'll be applying for a second grant for that if the first one doesn't come through. We have in hand a grant to, complete the restoration of the master bedroom and slave quarters. On the Hollingsworth house, thank you. And, the problem was we were having trouble getting bidders in because it's sort of a small project and a lot of contractors don't get tied up with a small project. Thank God Larry Bason came through and, his bid was a little higher than the amount of funding we had from the grant. So he's gonna modify his, proposal, remove some items so that he can complete that work, so those rooms can be shown as part of the tour. So there's ongoing grants and repairs happening that we're applying for and receiving grants through Maryland Historic Trust or Preservation Maryland.
I'm 100% with all that. It just seems like the daily operation, the fundraising activities to keep the place afloat.
Well, and probably part of that is lack of, knowledge in the town and the community as to what's down there. National Park Service was down there, they were impressed with the site, we were on the Washington Rochambeau Trail, historic trail. They gave us, National Park Service signs we can put up at the site, but maybe a link to the town's website so that folks can, hook into the Elk Landing site would be helpful. We need volunteers, donations, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I've taken over the webpage and the Facebook account, so, you know, it's kinda, I'm really trying hard to get us, you know, get the train moving again. And I think,
I know in the early days, I absolutely know that we were raising, I would say almost $100,000 a year.
yeah,
And-
we're not, have not,
Nowhere close to that.
Went for restoration of the buildings, Stone House,
yeah.
Warren House,
Yeah.
we're all for construction.
Yeah, I mean, I have been reading up on what the foundation's been doing. I know, you know, in the beginning, there were probably 450 members or more to the foundation. Now we have like maybe 10, you know, so it's, like I said, it's, you know, the last probably, you know, 5-7 years, you start getting people that are tired and, you know, from COVID, basically, you know, there's been really no activity on the site. So this year, having, you know, trying to get things chugging, I'm hoping like next year, we're gonna do something for the 250th.
Yeah. That's
You know, we're planning a high tea event, you know, next year to have high tea and, you
So
know.
we gotta help you find some energetic bodies to help, raise some money.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I wanted to point out too, like on the Stone House, you can see the current state of the fireplace, that's in the corner that needs to be fixed. That we've also had, you know, like I said, like Jeannie said, we do have grant money coming in to try to keep working on those sort of things. We've also had, I did editing of a chapter of a book that somebody was writing on the American Revolution and mentioning of the Elk Landing. And we also have, a request from Westchester University to, do a display for their upcoming exhibit on the Swedish Finnish migration through the county. The Elk Landing was originally owned by Swedes and Finns, before they got bought by the Hollingsworth, family. So, there are things that I'm trying to do outreach and, get a name recognition and get our names out there. Now, just to kind of give you an idea of, the June through September kind of numbers for us, we've been clicking the thing for counting how many people are coming by. We've had, open houses generated, 95, visitors. We've had 12 people for private tours. We're, just our volunteer hours, you can see we've put in a good 40 hours, on the garden, just the garden. And, the number of volunteers kind of overlap, so I have about 10 people, that are helping with tours and the garden. So, going from 0 to that much interest in the last couple of months has been really extraordinary, for the landing. So I want to keep that momentum going. And we are going to be, like Jeannie said, we're on the Washington Rochambeau Historic Trail and the Star Spangled Banner Historic Trail, because Elk Landing has, 1781 connection with Washington Rochambeau and Lafayette, and then the, War of 1812. We had a fort and successfully repelled the British from burning down Elkton. So it's an important site. We're going to be mentioned in the upcoming Ken Burns documentary on the American Revolution that will be on PBS starting November 16th. So we're gonna have an open house that next Saturday, so hopefully we'll get some people to stop by after they see his documentary. It's a 6-day documentary. And then we were also recently, in an episode of House Hunters that aired on September 19th.
Yeah, that was sort of outside of town.
Yeah, for outside of town.
I watched it, I'm like, where is that? I wasn't in it. Wasn't the corporate one.
But, we're trying to get the word out. And so this slide kind of shows like a takeaway of like all the various things that we would like to have happen. If the gentleman that works on that could do the key, come and check our, arbor, at the fence line, as you can see is broken. Probably the gate itself needs a little bit of, TLC for rust spot and things like that. So that would be really sweet if we could come by there. But just to kind of give you an idea of, the utility bills at the very bottom of what I calculated for the last 12 months was about $4,300. That's what we're trying to, minimum cost of what we need to kind of maintain the property. Any questions?
No, we gotta come up with a game plan to get this thing up and running better again.
Yeah, so that's why I'm here before you today.
All right, well, listen, I appreciate you bringing that to me because I didn't know. Any comments from the board? Give us a little time here, we'll come up with something for us.
Okay,
All right,
very good.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
There's also a board member position vacant on the Historic Elk Landing Foundation, another appointee of yours in there.
All right, we gotta find somebody.
Yeah, I think there's supposed to be 15 board members, and we have, 6.
3 are appointed by the mayor himself, me, and, a third person. It was Gary Stork at one time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I think we have a little bit of a game plan on the Singerly. Gene, you brought up that maybe, next week when we have our, since we're talking about acquisition of, property could be equipment, property. I think what we do is we'll go into a closed session with that next week. If everyone's time schedule will work next week, 'cause it's gonna be a long one. You're gonna play?
I can be here.
Charles, you think you'll be here, right? Singer, Rob, you're gonna adjust around.
When needs a meeting, I'm sure I can readjust my schedule.
And you're out of town? Okay,
Mhm.
we can handle it without Earl.
Don't say it like that.
With that, earlier this morning, I had a, meeting with Stonewall Development. I met with Brian Humphreys. Mike Brown was also there at the meeting, Ray Jackson. And I invited, Brian, can you come up and just, and Mike, or you guys coming up as a team? And I think what I'd like to do is see if we can get us all on the same page on a few different things, if we could. And this will be good. So one of the things that came up was the Frenchtown Wharf property, the RV park. The town had has an opportunity for a $500,000 grant that was kind of put together. In the meantime, after I met with your teams, I had got in touch with Delegate Grist. He's gonna reach out back. He reached out to me while we were up here. And I'm gonna have, his office is gonna specifically tell me, because I think the interpretation is, you think that we can do a memorandum of understanding.
Agreement.
Agreement.
Very clear.
Okay,
It's
doing
agreement.
do an agreement. Well, listen, let's, instead of me highlighting what we're at, tell us a little bit, because I don't think Jean was actually here when we talked about the RV property per se. I think she was out at that time, but you know very well about,
I've become very familiar, yes.
tell me your obstacles, where we're at.
Yeah, so Jean should be,
Yeah, Jean's not leaving, she's there, she'll
okay. Yeah, just a real quick recap of where we're at is, when Ray bought the property initially, he had floated some ideas about some things down at the 60 acres roughly of the critical area. And it was sort of put in as a placeholder. No one quite really knew where that would land. When I got involved in the project, we started looking into the different regulations and impediments and everything. And it's really no different than any of the waterfront properties in Maryland. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. Everything is possible if you have the will and the cooperation and you want to make it happen. But if you go by whatever is written in statute in the state and local codes, then probably nothing happens. So it's kind of a choice which direction you want to go. You know, all the nice waterfront parks that you've seen in, you know, Havre de Grace, Annapolis, all of this required text amendments, they required variances, they required all the things that you need to try and make your vision happen. So the first thing that we're really looking for, I mean, obviously we helped with the fundraising for the 500 to help study this because we didn't want the town to come out of pocket. But the real thing we want to know is what are you willing to fight for? If you have a vision of something you want, tell us what it is. We'll decide if we want to fight for you and go to bat and make this happen. And if you don't, that's fine. Just let us know and we'll take it another direction. But, you know, I see Elkton, it's a pretty proud waterfront community that has no waterfront access when it really comes down to it within the municipal limits. And I think that that's a shame. And the fact that we've invested this money in Southfields, this is your chance to showcase this stuff. And it's your chance to actually have a amenity like a waterfront park, you know, where you can have a kayak launch and do waterfront concerts and things like that. But again, yes, it's not allowable by code currently, doesn't have the growth allocation yet. Are all those things possible? Sure. We just have to do them. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really where we're at, is I'm looking for some commitment from you guys, and otherwise that's fine. We'll look for other options. But we've been playing with this for 3 years, and once it's gone, it's gone. There's no more waterfront property in the municipal boundaries of Elkton unless you annex something else in, or you put it in your spare land at the sewage treatment plant, which I'm not sure how awesome that would be, but you know, it's up to you guys.
Mhm.
So if we do nothing on this property, what is Plan B?
I'll turn it into 3 houses for somebody. That's what it's allowed by right.
You wouldn't want to change, any allowable usages?
So again, that would take cooperation. And if you're telling me you're not gonna cooperate on the park, I mean, I'm assuming you're not gonna cooperate for other uses, but if so, that's fine. Well, we're looking for any guidance you can
Well,
give.
this is, okay, I'm a little bit, so the RV park
Mhm.
has to be attached to the waterfront?
Not directly.
This is where,
But from a marketing standpoint, it does.
Yeah, so the idea is that, the RV park supports the sports complex, which is my involvement, obviously, right?
that's your interest, for
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely, and
Okay.
when we went to the planning commission the first time for, the sports complex, that was one of their first asks as well, is what are you gonna do with RVs, because that's a big selling point for families, because they have to do a lot of travel and it's very expensive.
Right.
And of course, we need all the parking spots that we have at the sports complex for parking, because, as you guys know, if you've ever seen these things, if you get on Route 1 to Delaware, parking is always the issue. So, taking all these parking spots and turning them into RV parks or RV spots, or now with all the design completed and the bonds, changing our direction to do anything different there is not possible. That parking lot's done, to be fair,
Mhm.
paved, it's curved, it's done,
Wait, Mike, can I interrupt you?
Sure.
Just so I get a picture in my head. So at full capacity on the sports bar, if you're up and running and you've got events going on,
Correct.
what would you estimate, how many RVs would you estimate that you would need space for?
I don't know that number. Anything would be a guess for me right now. I can reach out to some places that do this and have our
Find out.
spaces, absolutely.
I mean, if you're talking 5 at an event versus 50 at an event, that's
Sure.
huge.
Sure, you're right.
Because maybe
5 is
even you
totally
could
huge.
modify some of the property that, I don't know.
I don't disagree with you, yeah.
Adjacent to what you currently have.
I think our vision was, how do we extend the days and the times that people come to, help?
The weekends, there's
Yeah.
a lot of weekends.
People come in for the weekends, but how do you bookend those with extra days, with amenities and else that people want? It was my vision for launch zone, driving range at Patriots Glen, is to have amenities like that for people to want to come to Elkton, other than just the sports complex. I travel around a decent amount with my kids. I thought this park would be done for my kids. My kids are long done with sports now, but the reality is, you can go to a lot of county parks and use a lot of porta potties and have a pretty terrible experience and pay an awful lot of money for it in these sports, for these travel sports. And we want something different. I want something different. And with this, we want to make sure that you want this as well, because we've been talking about it for a long time. There are obstacles, as we know, that have to be, that we have to overcome. Are they impossible? No, but it would take teamwork to do that. But what the real question is, do we have the appetite for that? And I mean collectively, all of us. Do we have the appetite to change codes, to do the things that we need to do, to have the wharf park and the RV park?
Well, I just wanted to add in there, we've talked about the RV park. I've talked until I think I'm aging a little more here. But I will tell you, I absolutely want the RV park, and I've even said to you guys that the RV park has to be more than just a park for the folks that are coming to that facility. If you had a Class A motorhome, and these Class A motorhomes are not, these aren't trailers. These are $500,000 luxury homes on wheels, and they drive, and I talk about the snowbirds. We want to catch, if you're driving from Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Massachusetts, those folks have to go and they have to drive all the way down through Virginia, and none of them like it.
Right.
There's no place for them to stop between here for the next shot.
There's one in Middle River, and it's constantly booked. People have to.
It's
book
constantly
far
booked.
ahead, and that's what we're looking for.
I think, and how many RVs were you looking at in your RV park, just to refresh our mind?
Like over 100.
Yeah, it was right about 100
Yeah.
units, right? And listen, if you could book a 100-unit RV, that amenity, anyone that has an RV, and you can go down and take a look at the waterfront property. That's also a nice selling part.
And it's worth saying, in the plans was connecting it back to the town of Elkton with a walking trail. I mean, you know, it's meant to be an amenity that brings people here to enjoy Elkton.
So the questions that you have is, one, we believe we have a $500,000 grant that could help the feasibility, acquisition, a lot of different things with that. But the clarity that we need is, you're saying that if we have an agreement with the town, you can move forward with all this. And then you don't have to give us the property today if you have an agreement, because I don't want the property
Right.
if it doesn't work.
Exactly.
That's right.
The agreement just gives you the option to acquire it for free, right?
Yeah,
I
it all works
don't, I don't
out.
understand what the downside is.
And if it doesn't, you say, I don't want it. And the special tax district.
But don't we
goes
have-
with
Yeah,
Well,
do we have to clarify the, parameters of the grant?
Well, I contacted Delegate Grist here right before this call, and he's got Jackson Leaf, I think it's Leaf Jackson, who works in his office, will be reaching out to me to give me and the board some clarity on this, because I believe staff doesn't believe that this is correct. Or,
So it's my understanding with the MOU that the property would be turned over to the town only after the town has acquired the funding to complete all the improvements to the park.
That was the last proffer we put forward. We never heard a word back.
In other words,
Oh,
You have a
okay.
counter, give it. You'd love to hear it.
I don't.
yeah, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, because, you know, it's always something, right? It's
Yeah.
special taxes, and who's gonna pay those? It's, well, can we get all 50 acres versus 10 acres? And what's does the MOA get it done, or does it have to be owned, or do we have to turn it over now? And I think we all have opinions on that are probably not 100% accurate all the way around. I think that, except for maybe Ron. So. But the MOA, an MOA that gives you the right to take the property if you want it, and it's worth saying, if it ends up being a $10 million list to do a park, you don't want it then either.
no,
You know,
no,
so to say something like, hey, you wanna make sure you have the ability to do it.
We're not
Not
trying to
really.
force this on people. We just want to know that we're not going to beat a property that's gonna sit there with cobwebs for the next 50 years while we have a bustling sports park next to it. We just want to make sure it happens. And people are motivated to make it happen. That's the main thing. We're motivated. We want
well,
to make sure you guys are.
well, I guess your questions, you came in before, and I think that we all agreed that we like the concept. But you haven't been, have you been in front of our planning commission to take this concept to get some type of
So if you remember the MOU, I stressed, I need you guys to tell me what you want in it. I'm not gonna go present the stuff I want. It's
okay.
your part. You tell me what you want. I'll put it together.
Hmm.
I'll do it for free. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you're willing to cooperate to make it happen. And we'll help. We've already raised the money to help study it.
And to
We're
Ryan's
gonna
point,
give you the ground.
we paid money to put together a rendering. of the
Mhm.
park. And the rendering was just that. There was not a plan, there was nothing in there that was set in stone. And people saw boats in the water and said, oh my God, they're gonna put motorboats in the water. And this is a perfect example of, that was not the intent. The intent was to get people excited about what could be there, realizing that the water's not deep enough, that, you know, it would be kayaks, that there was no intent of having a marina down there. But this is a conversation, right? I mean, this is not us driving it down anybody's throat. But again, we have a lot of options all the way around, but what is it that the board wants so that we can start making moves in the right direction? That's all.
Well, I guess just the bottom line points would be, one, does the town want to see a Frenchtown Wharf Park? Do you want to see that waterfront park? Secondly, along with that, do you want to have an RV park that would be in that area down there? Now, I think those are the two specific questions that we need
And how do
to,
we manage the grant?
yes. If we don't want those,
Yeah,
if we don't want those, then they go to Plan B, which will be 3 single-family houses down there, and,
I haven't talked to Ryan or Michael about this, but, next week, that's where I'm not gonna be here. I'm taking my trailer to go to another part. But I would love to see this be like, Myrtle Beach, Ocean City, and then stopping to Elkton at our park, because that's basically the environment I'm going to do next week. But, sounds like a great spot for unused property, if we can get it done. So I'm all for it.
Rob, you have any questions, comments, or?
Not right now, but
Mhm.
I do want to discuss, it sounds like you're definitely going to need, there's a lot of these families travel by RV, so something's gonna have to be worked out. Can we give you an answer right now? Of course not, but, I can see the need for it, an overwhelming need.
And it's no different than having a hotel here. Either you get the amenity, or Charlestown does, or Middletown does, or someone else does. They're still gonna come. It's just whether or not we're gonna reap the benefits of those people coming. They're gonna find someplace to stay. It's whether or not they're coming to our restaurants and we get the indirect money that's being spent, or if Middletown or Charlestown or somebody else does.
We've got to be sure that we can make it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we don't even know if the
Absolutely.
road size would work. We don't know, there's so many things that we don't know, but we haven't even got to that point
Right.
to tell these guys to
Right.
start going.
And access. Isn't
Access, and access, yeah.
Access,
All
my
of it.
God.
And that was the
Oh.
point of the 500,000 grant in the first place, is to start studying those issues, right? It's to start the process and get past that so that you're not spending any of your own money, or we're not spending any of our own money if it's not feasible. It's like, let's get to the starting line, and make sure it's feasible.
Jean, do you have any comment?
I just thought that the grant explicitly said it didn't cover feasibility studies.
Now,
I
see,
disagree.
this is where we've got to get clarification.
So if
So-
the mayor's gonna be speaking to someone about the
Yes.
grant, then
Yeah.
they'll be able to get
That's,
clarification.
that's huge.
Well, I think we'll get him in the room or her in the
We're
room,
hoping to
and
do
then we
that.
all hear it together.
It's also very possible, I mean, I'm unfortunately very familiar with feasibility studies.
Yeah.
And
Right.
feasibility study isn't the same thing as engineering studies or, you know, whether or not a park is possible inside of a certain area,
Correct.
whether or not
That's
that park
true.
will make money, or whether or not the RV park, that's a feasibility.
Now,
And I think Gene is right. I think,
Okay.
now that I'm thinking back, I don't think the word feasibility was allowed, but it was another word that you
I think
could,
it was administration or some sort of.
Yeah, so
cost, none of
we
that.
just don't use the word feasibility.
How do we-
Engineering exploration is the same thing as feasibility.
oh, really? Okay.
It's all in how you put the, title.
Yeah. And what about the study that KCI did?
That,
Do we,
yeah,
we purchased that, right? And had it done?
And what did it say? Does that,
it said exactly what I've said to you now, which is that there are impediments, they're possible to be surmounted, just takes effort and time, and that's what it said.
So it was.
and how are you reading it?
I think it actually said that the regional park should be moved to where the proposed RV area is because of the constraints with, 100-year floodplain and,
Well, that
sort of thing.
really just,
yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing actually that says that the park can't be in the floodplain. I mean, we're building a park in the floodplain in Baltimore right now. But
We just have to move it.
How did, you're
if you
doing,
don't put an
How?
improvement in the
hey,
floodplain.
Brian, you're doing Westport now,
Yeah,
and that's
so
right on the water.
it is a $25 million, 10-acre park on the water that would be remarkably similar to this one. It's also 10 acres right on the water.
Is that in the critical area?
Everything within 1,000 feet is within the critical area.
No, it depends on Chesapeake Bay, depends on
Yeah,
the
it's
critical
in the
area.
critical area. But
1,000 feet.
everything within a.
how did you surmount that?
It's allowed to be, every park on the water in Maryland's in the critical area.
Well, this is what we gotta figure out.
It's,
You say no?
it's just a.
You're saying yes, you're
Chesapeake Bay
saying
critical
yeah,
area is
we're
not-
kind
you
of,
can look at it on the.
yeah, we're kind of like,
Yeah.
in limbo in the middle here.
And I think
You're in
it's-
RCA. It's.
And you guys are you're gonna have to make changes to go to, if you're gonna.
Well, we understand that
That's the
too.
part, that's the toughest part, you know, and if it's not something that everybody wants, then it's okay.
So listen, I should have, and we should be meeting with the folks from the state by next Wednesday.
Okay.
And we'll have but I think, I mean, is anyone totally again, if all the pieces can be moved around, and the roads and the access, does this group want it?
I'm not against it.
Charles, how you feeling?
I'm not against it, it's just like, he was explaining, when you got a ballpark there, and you want to complement that with something else, and right now it would be the water. So, I'm in agreement if that will work.
Mike, if we don't want this, what's your next step for Art to accommodate RVs?
Me personally, I don't have any other.
Nothing, no other options?
Well, in my mind, you know, we complement the RV park because we have staff and the ability to, solve and match a lot of the ability to manage that park. If we're talking about doing it someplace else, off-site, elsewhere in the county,
When
I
we're,
don't think that's not my dream at that point. You know, my commitment this entire time has been to be a good partner here in Elkton. And I think that Southfield's property has, a lot of, untapped wealth. And when I mean wealth, I mean for all of us, you know. It's our position that if we finish this RV park and work park and people are enjoying it from Kensington Courts and from around the town of Elkton, and you can take kayaks out there, then that's a place that Elkton does not have right. They don't have it. And we don't know, it's no different than anything else we've talked about doing, whether it's the driving range, whether it's Patriots Glen, and everybody says nobody's gonna come, and now we have 40,000 rounds of golf and 12,000 people going through the driving range in 2 months.
The bourbon bar.
These things in the vertical.
Everyone said the bourbon bar was
Yeah,
over.
that's true.
Hey, Gene,
Quick question, would you consider if you do a cost benefit analysis on the area, in the critical area versus the tract of land just on the south side of Frenchtown Road, right across from your parking lot? Back in the day, I had
For a
recommended.
park
that you-
or an RV
For the
park?
RV park.
No RV park operator wants to be over there. We talked to 5 of them.
It's flat, it's closed.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it has no.
The water sewer might work better, and it might be cheaper to build there.
and where is this?
Right, the vacant
Off
lot,
213,
Right off of 213.
right south of Frenchtown, right next to them.
but it's the reason why you don't see luxury RV parks off Route 40.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is people do want to be.
You
back
want an
in the
amenity,
area.
you want a
They,
reason to come in.
they could connect the trail system on.
I think you're right. I think that what that does is it gives them a place to stay close to the park. It
Right.
makes the goal.
And
I
it's
think our
not,
problem is similar to the hotel. You know, we're going through a STAR study right now for what type of hotel is going to be put there.
right,
Well, the sports park's only getting credit for the Friday night, Saturday night, and not Sunday nights, you know, for the sports park, if you think about it. So the wedding venues and the business that surrounds Elkton is the other part of it. So will the RV park work completely because of the sports park? Absolutely not. It has to be an amenity that people want to come to. And that's where, unfortunately, I think the rub comes really being right off.
I don't think for cost savings.
Yeah, it's got a standalone.
Yeah.
listen, I'm gonna change gears a little bit. I've been down to the launch zone. I believe Rob's been there, and you've been there. I know Gene, Charlie's been in there, yes.
We've all been.
We've all been there. Can you give, like, the rest of the team here, and it's only been 2 months?
Mhm.
Can you tell us how many visitors you've had in the driving range, the launch zone?
Today, 12,000,
12,000 visitors.
just in the drive. Not, it doesn't.
It's just absolutely amazing.
It's been fantastic, and to be quite honest, we have not pushed the pedal on marketing because, we still wanted to get some things right.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had some pretty large events there now for the American Cancer Society and for, some, candidates running for office, and, you know, we're still dialing in. You know, you guys know me, I don't like to go until I make sure that everything's right. But, we're very, very happy with it. We just installed our heaters over the weekend, and, we're super stoked for the winter, because I think that's where we're gonna see a lot of people coming from other places where they golf. And we've had nothing but good comments.
Listen, I wanna, absolutely mention this, is that, several years ago, you took over Patriots Glen, and, it was a failing golf course. It's something for the town of Elkton. I can't be any more prouder of that area today than I was when we hit that first ball off of that tee in 2000, I think it was. But it's back. The course is back. It's stronger than ever. Now, I love that all the assessments went up in Patriots Glen. I'm tickled to death about that,
That
but,
was-
you know, we didn't have assessment increase in there since probably 2000, right after, there was none. The last one was probably in 2007 before the market crash. And it's taken all these years to finally get it really assessed very well. And, if that course would have closed 3 years ago, we would have never reaped this. And then what you've done with the lawn zone, what was that investment?
$2.5 million.
2.5 million. Very nice. And I think everything we see is first class.
Well, that's kind of my point too, and I'm not, I'll pat myself on the back, I don't like to do things halfway. And you guys know me personally, that's just not how I'm built.
Are you gonna be involved in the RV park?
Yes, that was what I was gonna say.
And then now my question, what do you vision?
I envision a higher end park, I don't want it to be something where people are bringing campers, because they don't have anywhere else to go. I envision it being a destination, and us having additional, amenities
Mhm.
that we're gonna build together around the area for that reason. And I think this is the impetus for it.
Mhm.
Sports complex is what the foundation was.
Mhm.
I think it's a great vision.
It's a great vision, yeah,
Mhm.
because it has a bent, and it has a purpose.
Mhm.
Exactly.
In 1 week's time, we will have a clear understanding on where we're going with this.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Very much.
That's all we can add.
Thank
Thank you.
All right, anyone else have anything to say for the good of the town here today?
Have anything to say?
No. Aaron, I wish you all the luck in this upcoming election. For anyone that doesn't know, Aaron is running for county council in this district. I'm looking very, very happy for you. You'll do a great job, no question about it. Anyone from the board have any questions, comments, anything you want to add today? All right.
Well, no, it's what, no, I assume you never found out, but I guess we found out about the cable out there that they're not having, that's not. Sorry, it's not communication, but,
Fiber optic.
yeah.
I don't know anything about the fiber.
Yeah, we figured
big.
it, and that's why we're.
I'm saying think big. Think big.
The one putting it in?
Yeah, they're putting it in. They went through permitting area.
The agreement.
Just like every other neighborhood, they've dug up holes everywhere, but you know, they fixed mine up beautifully.
With the whole after they.
Yeah, they did a nice job. All right, this meeting's adjourned.